All right, welcome everybody to the comic panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Tailon.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Chawienta.
And today we are in part 3 of our theme of
Morbid Curiosity.
Morbid Curiosity. For some reason, I figured it out, I think. The reason that I can't remember what it is there's a part of my brain that wants to say obscure. I don't know why that is, but I'm like, it's not obscure, it's morbid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Morbid Curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And so previously we've read I Am Not Starfire, and we've read Marvel. Today we are covering Ultimate Iron Man, written by Orson Scott Card, drawn by Andy Kubert, inked by Danny Miki, and with the help of other inkers on the last 2 issues of the volume. But yeah, this is in the Ultimate Universe, which for those that don't know was an initiative by Marvel Comics in the early 2000s to basically make a new universe that updated their characters for the modern era and gave them new origins and kind of differentiated them without like the bulk of needing to have read lots of previous comics to get into them.
Yeah. And previous Ultimate comics that we've read, Ultimate Fantastic Four, Ultimate Spider-Man, and the Ultimates.
Yeah.
That makes me so curious, though. Like, I don't think I know the old Iron Man. Like, I only know, like, modern versions of him. So I don't see... I don't know how this different.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. Like, I mean, we'll get into it a little bit more, like, what happens in this. But, I mean, you have to at least think, like, the blueness is strange, right?
I don't think that was an original thing. They were like, Iron Man, he was born blue.
Yeah.
But aliens, that's what it used to be.
Maybe he was. Mystique and Nightcrawler are around. They're blue.
Yeah, but they stayed blue, and they had reasons.
Yeah.
What was Iron Man's reason?
No.
Science?
Right.
The big air quotes around that science.
As much science as Iron Man gets to do.
Yeah.
And also, we have the writer Orson Scott Card, which, if the name sounds familiar, it's because he's of... I literally just lost it.
Ender's Game.
Ender's Game.
Yeah, Ender's Game.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and also this is our obviously, so Orson Scott Card is primarily a science fiction novelist. I think he's written a few other comics, but this is maybe one of his most noteworthy ones. And then Andy Kubert is also a very famous comics artist, and I believe he and his brother worked on Batman versus Predator.
Oh, yeah.
Which we read earlier last year. Yeah. Yes.
It was a while ago. You could just say that.
Yeah.
You liked it, though.
Yes, I did really like it. It was very good.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, both him and his brother are not. Sorry. Both him and his brother are. Gosh, I'm still saying this wrong. His dad is Joe Kubert, is what I'm trying to say.
They're both the sons.
Yes, yeah, they have connections. Joe Kubert is also a famous comics artist and the creator of the Joe Kubert School of Art.
Founder, probably.
Yeah. So yeah, a lineage of comics art. Yeah. So that's where we're going in on this book. That's the creators, or the the
That is
creative.
kind of a crazy matchup.
Yeah, it is really weird. And yeah, also I think that, I don't think it's worthwhile to get into how and why, but I do know that Orson Scott Card does have like some controversy around him.
Yeah.
So yeah, just because we're reading his book that he's written does not mean that we share any of his views or anything like that. But yeah, with that out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ultimate Iron Man. I will say also, looking at the Wikipedia page for this book, it's really funny and interesting. This is actually it has been decanonized from the actual Ultimate Universe.
Yep.
Because a version of Ultimate Iron Man appears in the Ultimates, which is their version of the Avengers. And basically it is revealed that this version of the story that we are reading, it got retconned as the fictional Japanese anime version of Tony Stark's origin.
That's so mean.
Yeah.
They're like, the Japanese wrote this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is really like, we'll just, it does really give like, because I mean, there's no like tropes of anime.
Oh yeah,
in
that's
this.
Actually, yeah.
So it's like, it's very much like, we'll just dismiss. Like, I mean, it feels like a dismissal.
You know
of
how anime is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's why they would do this. I would never do this.
The early 2000s.
Yeah. Why couldn't they just go with the Batman, excuse of like, this is just movies based off of Iron Man?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what they did, but it's different. And yeah.
I feel like that becomes one of those, I think the term is the Streisand effect. Where it's like, nope, I feel like you having to come up with a reason to decanonize this dumb origin story makes more people realize how dumb the origin story is.
Yeah.
Where you could just like not mention it. And there'd be some weirdos like us who would come back 20 years later and read it.
Yeah.
But most people wouldn't care.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, yeah, weirdos like me, at least. I'm like, I was curious at one point. I was like, wait, if this is like his origin, then why is he like totally different in the Ultimates?
Oh, yeah. Does he seem different in the Ultimates?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I guess it's that like he doesn't have like the brain matter in his body and the invincible skin.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to go over the plot?
Yeah,
first?
we do.
Yeah.
Just had to answer Tailon's question.
No, that's fair. I guess like character wise, I feel like he's the same, just like in his character.
Yeah, that could be. Honestly, I can't really remember Ultimates that well, like other than the broad strokes, but
the Ultimate Avengers is really strong in my mind. So.
Okay, yeah.
I can remember that.
But anyways, the plot, it starts with Tony Stark's father, Howard Stark, and he is giving a presentation of this bacterial armor he has developed. Basically, it is super strong. It can obviously be like, you can hit somebody that is covered in it and they will be blown back but not hurt. You can also try to put a needle in them or something like that,
something metal, and it will dissolve. Doesn't do gold because that is non-oxidizing.
Not the only metal that does that, by the way. So I don't know why they focused it on metal or gold.
Yeah.
We love to use gold knives.
Yeah.
Also, it doesn't work against bullets because they're too fast.
Oh yeah.
Which I thought was gonna mean something, but
yeah.
Nobody likes to shoot guns in this comic.
See,
thankfully,
I assume that this is both like two Chekhov's guns, just that it's not in these issues.
Yeah, I figure it is setting up for a longer one.
Yeah. But but the problem with the blue bacterial armor spray is that it eats skin. So you can't have it on for too long.
Right.
And so basically, I think like the limit is like 3 hours.
And it will also be washed off just by antimicrobial soap.
Yes.
Bacterial.
And water.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like they used the wrong kind of soap in the comic.
Anyway, so Howard Stark is giving this presentation to a woman who is a scientist, and she is the expert in regenerative biology. And so basically he hires her to do her work basically in making human regeneration more viable, so if people can wear the blue armor, and then they can they can get their skin eaten, but it'll regenerate at the same rate that it gets eaten.
You know, why didn't he just find Deadpool or Wolverine, take their blood, and then figure it out from there?
Celebrities, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure those two... Well, I guess Deadpool's not a mutant. I'm sure Wolverine would love getting experimented on a third time.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta cut your losses and find the next best option.
Yeah.
Just making a baby.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, you know, he's given her this presentation to try and convince her to work for him. And I knew off the bat, oh, no. They're gonna get together. It's like,
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
This is Howard Stark we're talking about.
Yeah.
These are two characters standing next to each other.
Yeah. And I like how you're like, this is Howard Stark we're talking about. I'm like, I mean, really, I don't know. Howard Stark doesn't really have that much like known characterization, but I do feel like it's like, well, obviously any way that Tony is must be exactly how his father is.
Yeah.
But yeah, meanwhile, also, it turns out that Howard's wife is getting divorced from him.
Lonnie is her name.
And she is basically concocting a plan with Howard's rival,
Zebediah
Stane, yeah. And basically they are going to get married for business reasons.
Well, no, she's in love. Or,
yeah, I don't know. It's very much like, they're going to still be married in the traditional sense also, I guess, but what they have, is it love? I don't know. It's mutual beneficy.
Yes. She takes half of his company, and then
half of Stark's.
Yeah.
And then Zebediah has also been buying stock options in Stark Enterprises, basically to take the company out from under him.
Yeah. And then they're like,
that's what I care about in my Iron Man origin.
Yes.
Weird business dealings with people who aren't Iron Man.
Yeah.
Well, I think the real thing that Zebediah wanted was the patents that Howard presumably had.
Right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, time jump, like we said, Howard and the woman who is the scientist, I forgot her name.
Same.
Maria?
Oh, yep.
Okay,
yep.
right. Which is, that is normally what Tony Stark's mom's name is.
Mm-hmm.
They are working on a virus that for, basically causing regeneration. They've infected monkeys with it, but the monkey attacks Maria, which causes her glass helmet to shatter on the ground, and then the monkey scratches her, infecting her with the virus. Meanwhile,
while she's pregnant,
yes.
I
mean, I don't work in a lab, but I feel like you wouldn't, even if she is the lead researcher, you wouldn't let somebody who's pregnant work with your experimental supervisor.
Well, she didn't know.
Yeah.
She was in denial.
But also, she just said, "I'm sick." And they're like, "Oh, you must be pregnant."
I know, yeah, like they're magical.
Only thing you can have is pregnancy.
I diagnose you with pregnant.
Yeah, and also they're all like, "Man, I guess we should redesign these suits and the helmets." And I'm like, "Why were they glass in the first place?" Like,
made to be monkey broken.
Yeah. This was the plan all along.
Mhm.
So yeah, she's pregnant. She has the virus. Can't cure the virus.
Didn't even think about it.
Yeah. Howard loses his company. Maria is essentially what they say is that she's going insane as the virus overtakes her body because the regeneration is causing her brain to generate to just generate and it is starting to expand past her skull and
her brain get too big.
But then she explains all about how Tony's biology works.
Basically, because the virus acts on embryonic cells differently, his body will basically be able to accept the virus in the way that his brain generates. Basically, his brain cells will be throughout his body.
Yes. So he will be a walking, like, every part of him is like a brain.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
They're like, his brain big, but he won't look weird. Don't worry.
Yeah. And then his Zebediah comes in and is like, "Yeah, we're gonna take everything and stop the production of your blue suits, your blue armor, bacteria armor."
That's like, at least months later after she had died.
Yeah. Oh no.
No,
it isn't, because he takes the phone call and is like, "Your wife just died."
Well, it was at least months, because he had a full-on beard. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, she was like only a little pregnant, and then 9 months later.
You're right. I didn't think about
that. Come on, Tailon. That's how pregnancy works.
Oh, geez, I didn't know
that. But yeah, so like I just said, Maria dies on the table while giving birth. They are keeping her alive through like basically life support to finish delivering the baby. But she is already like functionally dead. He is able to save some of the blue armor because he knows that Tony, the baby, will need it, because they also explain that his skin will be like super sensitive, basically. He'll just like always be in pain. So he covers him in it, and then he's not in pain anymore.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Zebediah also finds out that nothing was patented.
He had no patents.
Yeah.
Which is like the ultimate, like, why'd I even marry you?
Yeah.
Like, you're right.
To Nani. And then...
Which, again, is weird enough that it would be like a commonly known fact.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not sure why. Like, everybody who works for, like, nobody ever worked with Tony Stark, left amicably and talked about how, man, this Tony Stark, Howard Stark's this super weird guy who doesn't keep patents for anything.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would keep that information under the rug.
Well, I mean, I don't think you could. You can look up patents in the U.S. patent database.
True.
So if
why wasn't he like looking them up anyway to be like, how many patents am I gonna get?
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, nobody from Stain Industries legal department said, "Hey, I'm trying to look up these patent filings, but I don't see any."
I mean, it's Howard Stark, right? It's like he's got to have patents, right? Yeah, sure.
We just
Maybe he has them under
assumed.
the other people's names. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be funny.
So yeah, basically he kidnaps the person who was the main test subject of the bio armor and uses a device called the lid that extracts information directly from people's brains and makes them basically it extracts everything from their brain, so they are no longer functioning in that way.
They're like a vegetable.
Yeah,
basically.
It's really useful. I don't know why they kind of waited that long to use it.
Yeah.
The guy's name was Nero.
Nero, yes. Yeah.
I just felt so bad. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
On the other hand, though, you should not be that loyal to your employer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But he saved me from the streets.
Yeah.
I hope
so
that
he
was
could
No.
test me for some weird body armor project.
Anyway, also not true.
No. As far as we know.
Okay, you can't just make up fan fiction and then say, well, maybe it's true.
You don't know it's not true, Cody.
Anyway, so basically, yeah, Nero, another scientist lady, who worked on the bio armor, are living together with Howard and Tony, basically raising him. Which, funny little sitcom era.
Yeah.
They all lived together for a while. Then Zebediah attempts and succeeds at kidnapping Tony through, he was this whole time basically controlling Nero. But Nero was also starting to develop, consciousness, essentially, or full consciousness. So he was able to warn Howard a little bit before he successfully
if only
initiated the kidnapping.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately he also does die. I believe the context is it's supposed to be self-inflicted out of guilt for what he's done, because he started to really care about Tony.
Oh, see, I thought Tony did that.
Oh, jeez.
No, that would be rough. That would be messed up.
For some reason, I thought it was the guy in the van. They show him going up to the window or whatever.
So
I assumed it was just loose end, tie him up, whatever.
I could see that being true also.
Well, he said, "Stop me."
Right.
Yeah.
Because that stop him from...
Because he's still under the control.
Right. No, so what I didn't notice is that Nero had the pencil in his hand when he gave him that notebook.
Yeah.
Okay. I just assumed the worst of the children, I guess.
Yeah, whoa.
I mean, based on what we see from some of these kids later, you're not crazy.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. I'm just So yeah, they kidnap Tony. He refuses to basically reveal anything that he knows, so they decide to put the lid on him. After washing off some of the armor.
Yeah.
And so one, he's in super pain with the lid on him, and then two, they're trying to do the same process that they did to Nero.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then but it doesn't work because his brain is spread through his body, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's already been in constant pain.
Yeah. He can basically just move all of his thoughts and stuff to his butt, so
I literally pulled it out of my butt.
So yeah, Howard comes to save the day with a personal SWAT team. Well, not a personal SWAT team. It is the police. He calls the police.
Oh, okay.
It feels like a personal SWAT
It does,
team,
yeah.
though.
Yeah.
And yeah, gets Stain arrested. Meanwhile, Stain also has a child with Lonnie. And basically, yeah, Lonnie is all like, your dad's stupid, and so
yeah, why is he doing this personally? Why is he there?
Yeah kind of true. Yeah,
but his son's name is Obadiah.
Yes.
And so that's the character you know.
Yeah, this is all origin building.
Yes.
So yeah, meanwhile, the other doctor, that I don't remember her name. I don't know if we... Or yeah. She's just there. She's developed a way to make Tony look human, or, like have human-colored skin, not blue skin.
Not be blue.
Yeah, it's going to be transparent instead of blue.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it is? It's transparent?
I thought so.
That might... I
don't know.
I don't know. I thought it was like 2 layers, but that makes a lot more sense, actually. I was a little confused, so I'm gonna say your thing is right because that makes more sense.
Fair enough.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. So but he's also upset that he still can't do a lot of things, like he can't swim. Then we jump 10 years later, so he's like 14 probably.
I think I missed that.
Oh.
So I was like, wow, okay, we just jumped ahead. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess they figured out a way for the bacteria to also not eat his hair, or he's wearing a toupee.
I thought it was a wig. I really did.
I mean, that could
wig.
be, but actually that makes the most sense too. Yeah, it wouldn't dissolve. Yeah, so he's at a public school, dusting up the machine dust at the metal shop class, and basically he's developed nanites that can use stray metal to clone themselves.
To replicate themselves, yeah.
Okay.
That does come back, but not in like a super significant way, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they did in that scene.
Yeah.
Caused a distraction.
So, yeah, he goes back to his private school after that because his normal school doesn't have a machine shop. And he sees a boy that is getting bullied.
Important fact about him is that he's black.
Yes, yeah.
So
it's very important.
Remember that for later.
Yeah. Yes. This is the ultimate version of Jim Rhodes, also known as Rhodey, Tony Stark's best friend. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought he was just bothering this random kid.
Oh.
I didn't realize he had to within the universe.
Sorry, yeah. No, the thing that you have to learn about Ultimate Comics is that, like, everything has a lore reason. Because in some ways it's like, they're like, well, we don't want anybody to feel like they have to know everything from the old comics, but we also still, our main buyers are people who love the old comics. So we have to have enough things that people are like, hey, I know that.
Honestly though, like if I would work for me. It would work for me.
I guess. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, basically the bullies are calling him like a diversity hire, what is it?
Oh my gosh. Quota.
A quota, yeah. Quota student. And, so they're all like pushing him against a car, like, beating him up. And then Tony's little electric flies start swarming him. And then he gets in between them and is all like, hey, you can smash my face against the car as hard as you want, as long as, like, I get to do it to you. And so they're like, well, I don't want to dent my car, so I'll do the brick wall. And they smash him, like, they're like, oh, no, we almost killed him, and then he's fine, though. And they just do it once, and they're freaked out and run away. Mm-hmm. But then Jim, he is really upset with Tony. He's all like, man, now you've just made things worse. They're gonna, like, have a big problem with me. Before I could have just, dealt with it, but you came to my rescue and I didn't need saving.
Right. Yells in his face.
Yeah. But Tony's all like, just tell me why you're mad at me, because he doesn't really understand.
And he just sits and he gets into the car.
Yeah, he gets into his car. And this part is wild. Like, this is just wild.
Don't you bond with your friends over racial stereotypes?
Yeah.
Oh, because they go to Kentucky Fried
Well,
Chicken.
no, I mean that and more.
Well, also
the things he says.
Right. I'm like, okay, James, chill out. It's just like, what is wrong with you?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, Tony is like, let me buy you a burger. And so he's like, you think I need food, blah, blah, blah. But then they do go and get food. And like you said, it's at KFC.
Legally distinct KFC.
No. Oh, you're right.
Wait,
Kentucky.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
They call it Kentucky Fried.
Yeah.
But they don't add the chicken, like the brand name on it.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
goodness.
So...
Like, that doesn't make it better. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
This
No,
choice.
I understand. So, I mean, the only way I can do this is to read some of the dialogue.
Okay, please do.
Because Jim says, I reckon y'all wouldn't mind treating me to my daily fried chicken. And Tony says, I never knew black people said reckon. And then Jim says, stop thinking you know anything about me because I'm black. And Tony says, I know that you like watermelon, you dance real funky, and you can slam dunk a basketball. And that makes Jim smile.
I mean, to be fair, I'm laughing at that, so maybe it works.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's
but
fun.
A new friend.
You just met this person like 20 minutes ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, they laugh it off and they're like, oh,
Yeah, we're friends now because...
you get it. I got stereotypes said about me.
Yeah, like the most generous I can be in reading that would be that, like, one, the first, like, just about the fried chicken part is, like, Jim trying to make a joke, which, like, does not tonally make sense with how upset he is. Mm-hmm. But then it's all, like, Tony also making a similar joke, and so it's like, yeah, I've got jokes too, but it's like, first of all, you get to make different kinds of jokes, not those jokes. Second of all, yeah, just total tonal dissonance. This is weird. And yeah,
I just don't like the fact that James is so angry. I'm like, that you don't need to be that way.
Yeah,
he's young.
Yeah, and
he's
I mean,
still
I guess
trying to develop a skin about it.
Yeah,
probably.
I think you can just chalk that up to, like, that just is his characterization in this.
I don't like it.
Okay, fair, but
the man pilots like a suit called War Machine. I'm not sure he has like a healthy, grip on his anger.
Yeah,
you know what? Maybe. Yeah. That makes sense. But yeah, they get to a shed there's a shed where Tony's at.
Yeah, basically like his home lab.
Yeah,
essentially.
And then his mom is there.
That is not his mom.
Not?
No, that is Lonnie.
Yeah,
Obadiah's mom.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
His would have been mom if they
Had she born him.
Right, exactly. But that made no... Okay, she literally says that, and I'm like, no, that's not how that works.
No, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that dialogue also was just weird, and...
Yeah. He tells her to go wait outside.
Yeah. Yeah, also I was gonna say, there is a character later on that essentially, like, fills the role, or at least I assume is filling the role, but I did think that this was, like, another kid student that was supposed to be, like, the Pepper Potts stand-in.
Oh, yeah,
Because, like, just, like, I don't know, red hair and, like, standing in the machine shop, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, that's, like, you know, she's also gonna be, like, a scientist, so she's not just, like, you know... receptionist, you know, in a quote unquote woman role, you know, like, but no, this is an adult woman, who is Tony Stark's dad's ex-wife, and basically he's like, I'm here to see your dad, and Tony's all like, well, I hate you, and you can sit on the front step until he gets here.
And she does.
Yeah, she does. It's late at night and she waits, but he gets there. Howard is like, why didn't you bring her in? And he's all like, she betrayed you. I hate her. I left the porch light on, so that was nice. And yeah, meanwhile, Tony is working on a suit of armor that, you know, the next day he brings to school and shows to James, basically so he can wear this suit that has, like, electric powers, and he can protect himself at school. But the school bullies find them in the furnace room, and they attack them. At first they shock. Electrocute is dying.
Oh,
yeah.
oh, okay. I didn't know there was a distinction.
Yeah. They shock the kids, but it's not powerful enough, you know, to incapacitate them, and they decide to try to start throwing Tony into the furnace, under the impression that he won't really get hurt. He'll just get kind of burned.
But we don't actually know that at this point.
Yeah.
So it just looks like they're trying to kill him, but...
Yeah, I kind of prefer the, like, their 80s children's movie bullies, where they'll just, like, try to commit crimes.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm just like, guys, you're
Just 'cause
clearly
they don't
not
like
thinking.
people.
You're about to... This is not just a prank.
Just respawn.
Yeah.
Just respawn.
Yeah, don't worry about it. So yeah, then a girl walks in, or no, that's right. Actually, no, sorry. Before that, Tony is able, while he's being burned alive, he's able to activate James's suit, and James is able to shock the bullies that are throwing Tony in the fire. And, you know, incapacitate them. And then a young girl also comes in and is all like, oh my god, this monster is attacking these kids.
He's looking at James.
Yeah. But it's fine. You know, basically she pulls Tony out of the fire, and his legs are burned to a crisp. He only has, like, you know, skeletal below, which I'm not sure that those would even be intact, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's lucky that he, you know, the ligaments are still there, I guess.
Mhm.
The bones
You just
have
grow
not...
them back. It doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
That's so weird. It's like, how do you translate? Like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
It's hand wavy science.
Yeah. Tony is also still able to talk, and he says to not call 911, to call his dad. His dad, and they listen, And his dad says that he needs food, water, and something else. What is it? Spray? I think.
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's just food and water. Maybe like
There's that
Food,
weird
water,
spray.
and don't call the police.
yeah. Yeah, they might have sprayed more of the blue stuff on his legs too, actually, like from his backpack or something.
Right.
Yeah. And then so he puts his legs in the suit of armor that he'd made, while like basically they get him a bunch of food and a bunch of water so that he can rebuild his body.
And what did they say?
Somebody paid us $100 to not to kill him because he wouldn't actually get hurt.
Yeah.
That's
They
not
told
what I was saying, but
Would die in the fire.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So it was definitely a hit. And so basically they're all like, well, we have to change schools for all of you because, one, you two, James, and this new character, Nefara, you were witnesses, and Tony was attacked. So we'll get you into this, fancy government school.
Now, wait, do you have more to say before you reveal the school?
Not really. Go ahead.
Okay. Honestly, when I saw what this school was, I was like, oh my gosh, no way. I totally didn't see that coming. That was jazzed.
Okay, yeah.
It's just the Baxter building. You don't
It's
even see
the
the Fantastic
Baxter
Four,
building!
though.
Yeah. It is unclear. Like, I mean, as we said earlier, this is like non-canonical anyway. But like, with the idea that they intended this to be canonical, like, when is this? Because like, also the Fantastic Four are younger in Ultimate Fantastic Four. So I'm like, are they the same age as Tony? Are they there? Are they there like later, but in a younger grade kind of thing? Like,
right.
But yeah, it seems like kind of weird to me, at least, to like reveal the Baxter building, but then not have like, even if Reed isn't there, because I think that Johnny and Sue were, if I remember, the Ultimate Fantastic Four. So I'm like, it'd be cool to see them, just as like students, basically.
Yeah, but no, we get good old Obadiah. Well, I mean, not old. But...
Yeah, that's right.
And not good.
Yeah. I did forget to say that the reason that Lonnie visited Howard at his home previously was to basically beg him to use his connections to send Obadiah to this school.
I think I forgot that by the time we got to this part.
Yeah. So now, the three kids are also going to be there with Obadiah. And Obadiah is immediately like just evil.
Yeah.
Completely evil. Like he
While they're there for the first time, right, he lures the two kids out and gets them to go off the side of the building.
Yeah. Two random kids that are also at this school. But
Which, like, nobody's asking questions about why kids are throwing themselves out of windows back to the building.
Yeah. Obadiah says that it was a suicide pact. And,
oh my gosh. And he gets away with it.
Yeah, he gets away with it. So it is like, why? Like, where's the note, like explaining, stuff, like what this was about?
Howard being like, I put him in this school to protect the world from him, but look at what he's done. And then he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, well.
And
I know he's evil. He also obviously steals something off of Howard's suit.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty quick to be all like, it was a hair. Like, he said it was lint, but it was a hair.
Yeah.
And he's going to use it either to clone me or to implicate me in a crime.
And
which they don't do anything about either.
Yeah.
They're not like, maybe we should find out. Maybe we should keep a closer eye. Let's do some reconnaissance. They're like, well, he'll be up to his old evil ways.
Yeah.
The small child.
At the age of 14.
We won't do anything to prevent this, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it is just incredibly... Oh, that's what I was going to say, too. I was going to say, like, they do not do any work to establish that he is evil for, like, reasons of, like, nurture. He's naturally evil because of his parentage. Like, yeah. That just is... He was born evil.
I don't know. They have that scene with his mom, you know, visiting the dad in prison and being like, your dad's a loser. You're not going to be a loser, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, definitely. Okay, yeah, there's definitely, like, kind of the implication that he was raised poorly, I guess. But that's definitely a lot left to the imagination, you know, a lot of the heavy lifting. Which kind of just makes it like, well, I guess he's just evil for evil's sake and no other reason.
You know what they should have done? They should have had him, like, I don't know, spit at the police, you know, at the window when he was visiting his dad. Or, like, do something, like,
I don't know.
Do something that, like, his mom doesn't correct, maybe. Right.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, or just like, you know, at some point in this book, not necessarily in his introduction, being all like, I don't know, I'm doing this, you know, because my parents didn't love me, which is a stupid motivation, just like to say out loud. But I don't know, like, it seems like he doesn't have any other motivation.
Yeah.
So at least having one, you know. But yeah, we jump further in time. You know, now the kids are like, you know, more like closer to 18 or maybe even in their early 20s. I don't know. Because they are still in the school, but, you know, maybe this is also part college as well.
Well, no. Tony Stark is underage. So
okay, yeah.
They'd probably be like 17, 16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that they mentioned. Oh, yeah, that's right. They said he's not an adult later on where the contracts. Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. But yeah,
I mean, his dad tells him like not to drink because, and then he goes like, well, can I drink once I get older, you know, to the right age? He's like, no, never.
Yeah,
Don't never drink.
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was probably less than 21, but it was unclear by how much. But yeah, no, you're right. He's less than 18. And yeah, so it's been a couple of years only. Like probably like 16 or 17.
But by the age of 16 or 17, he's got most of the Iron Man suit.
Yes, yeah.
Built.
He's pretty much built it. It is a prototype.
Built his ugly Iron Man suit.
Yeah. Meanwhile, somebody kidnaps Obadiah Stane, Father Stane.
Zebediah.
Oh, sorry. They kidnapped Zebediah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I love when people name it like that.
Yeah. So they kidnap Zebediah from prison, and they take him to a dam nearby and kill him using a complicated machine.
Oh, yeah.
Which will...
Yeah, like, why, though?
Yeah. Who knows?
I guess
to implicate.
No, I kind of understand it's to implicate Howard Stark, but like, just leave a note that says, I, Howard Stark, killed Zebediah Stane on this date.
Nah.
Who cares?
I think it's
like,
more
this
effective.
Is too obvious. It can't be him. And then they go, but he would think we would think that.
Nah, I think the way that they went about it is actually perfect.
Or like shoot him with a prototype Stark weapon.
Yeah,
that would have been effective too.
Yeah, that would have been good. So yeah, basically, we get the scene where you're not old enough to drink alcohol. You know, your brain is like your whole body, and you know, blood or the alcohol in your blood, you know, will distribute evenly and destroy neurons, and it'll be bad. So yeah, then the police come to this party that they're at and take Howard to ask him for his help with the autopsy because they found Zebediah split in half, and they're all like, but we don't understand how they did it. It's so weird, you know? Can you explain how? And then so he draws on the whiteboard basically explaining how it would be done and like the machine that would be used. And they're like, aha, well, we were thinking that you might, you had probable cause for killing him. Mm-hmm. And you just explained how you would kill him, basically. And I'm like...
It's such an obvious setup.
Yeah,
like,
I mean...
Howard Stark, for being however smart he is, really didn't see this one coming.
Well, I mean, the thing that I don't understand about the police is, like, what kind of killer would be like, oh, yes, this is how I would do it to the police? Like, I mean...
Okay, be fair... That is a common thing they love to ask people in interrogation rooms, where they go, how would you do this murder if you did this murder? But, smart people usually go, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, it feels...
I mean, Cody, I don't want to get too political on this podcast, but, like, O.J. Simpson wrote a book that said, it was titled, If I Did It.
No, okay, I get it. But that was, like, like what? It was strangulation, correct? Like... That was the means of death.
Stabbing.
Oh, stabbing. Okay, I'm not actually that familiar with the OJ case, honestly. But anyway, but that's like very like people get killed that way all the time. Oh. This is like very strange and weird, which I understand where you're like, it's like, oh, but then that's how he knew, but it's like, if somebody killed somebody in such a strange and weird way, they wouldn't break it down like that,
Isn't he supposed to be smart? Like, that's why they were like, we gotta bring him in because he's smart. And they're like, hey, he figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. It doesn't work for me.
What if he got it wrong? Would they have been like, I couldn't have done it. He's too dumb.
Actually, to be fair, they just went off of his word. They didn't actually check.
They're like, this does seem plausible. Yeah. How dare you suggest this?
Yeah. Anyway, though, so yeah, basically they arrest him, for the murder.
Even though they're somewhat aware, it's like, hey, we found, the blood of a third person, and we only really found, like, one of your hairs. It's almost like somebody planted it there. Yeah. Still gonna arrest and charge you, though.
Yeah.
Because they're worried done it, I guess.
They're worried he's a flight risk.
Yeah.
Which I don't know.
Could have just ran beforehand.
Yeah. And also, again, bringing back, alluding back to when, Zebediah kidnapped Tony. Why was he even there doing it himself if he is the one that did it? Why
was Zebediah there?
No. Why would
Howard Stark be on the scene doing the murder himself?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He's such a do-it-yourself kind of dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, literally, yeah. Anyway, never mind. Mm-hmm. So, he's arrested. Tony comes in to Stark Enterprises, and he's all like, yeah, I visited my dad in jail, and he, with a lawyer and a notarizer, and he named me active chairman and CEO until his release.
Yeah. And he immediately starts drinking.
Yes, he does immediately start drinking. I mean, he
started drinking at the party.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
He realized he liked
that drinking. Howard left the panel.
Yeah.
He's immediately like downing champagne.
Mm-hmm. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Which, just to real quick, it really bothers me in general. Like, they kind of do this in the main Marvel Comics 616 of like how it feels like writers really like to canonize Tony's like alcoholism, which is like, it is an important part of his character, like post Demon in a Bottle, but it's like, I don't know, it feels weird to be like, it almost feels like the same way that it's like Daredevil's blindness, it's like, no, this is like a fundamental part of his character, instead of just being like, it's something that, he had a problem with and had to overcome, and like,
oh yeah,
I don't know, it's like, it's weird that because it's like one of the major Iron Man stories, that it's like, well, we have to like include this as part of his like origin, basically.
Yeah. I get what you mean.
Yeah, it did feel like when they were talking about this story, it's like if they ever do like a prequel to a movie and one of the characters in the original like lost their hand somehow, sort of like Captain Marvel and the eye thing with Nick Fury.
Yeah,
it's like they keep hinting at it. It's like, oh, this is gonna happen to this character, and it's like it's weird though.
Yeah,
it's like nothing about Tony Stark we've learned so far makes it seem like he would, have a substance abuse problem. But
right,
I guess,
yeah,
the moment your dad goes to jail, you need it.
What I would think is like they might characterize him as kind of, acting like his father, because they do that when he shows up at the party, like.
Right, yeah.
Totally. And so, like, if his dad is like, yeah, don't drink, but he's drinking, it's like,
Yeah, no,
that's setting your son up for, like, doing that.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that there isn't, like, it's not... I'm not saying from a character stance it's weird that he's drinking. I'm saying from a writing stance, it's weird to make him, like, especially given the history of the original character, I guess.
Yeah. I get what you mean.
Yeah. It's just like, like Jake said, it's like very much like, well, we have to have a reason, and tying it into his different powers of like his brain body, of being like, oh, it'll affect you differently than other people. It's the
only way to numb the pain for him now.
Yeah. That's interesting. Because they have that conversation like 10 years before when he's looking at the pool and he's like, just give me some anesthesia. And he's like, anesthesia will make you dumb.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, dumber than people or like dumber than me?
Right.
That's interesting that it would be like, I'm looking for a way to numb the pain.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's not really in the writing.
Right, yeah.
But
it's not clear enough to establish a connection. Yeah.
But
that was something they said on the Wikipedia page, but I read this comic and I didn't see that.
But that makes
see what?
That
alcohol was like the only way to numb the pain for him.
Yeah. Well, it did.
Yeah, it can't be the only way. He does have that whole conversation that's the reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I missed that conversation.
Oh, it's in the boardroom when he pours the shot of whiskey. And his.
Oh, when he's talking to the doctor lady.
Yeah.
Seema. There we go.
Seema, yeah. His de facto stepmom.
Yeah.
Even though Howard does not get close to her.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting that would be the reason.
Yeah. I mean, that is the reason. And then they cut off their conversation, though, because there is a boat that has basically been hijacked by terrorists that's full of explosives.
Yeah.
Coming towards them from the harbor.
It's just there.
It's just there.
So it shows up and Tony's like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
And he's like, clearly they're the bad guys.
Yeah.
He tells his team to like, hey, he like call the police, see what's going on. And he doesn't even wait for a response. He's just like, they're clearly the bad guys. I'm going to get into the suit.
Okay, I literally thought it was like they were going to use the ferry to like invade the building or something.
Right.
That would be,
Yeah.
But he's just like, a crime is occurring. My spidey sense is going on.
Yeah.
But it never went off before this like world, which I'm sure there's like a billion crimes happening in his city, even because of course superheroes.
Yeah. So he gets in his Iron Man suit, which like, I mean, we did mention it earlier, but man, there's not a lot of Iron Man suit actually in this until now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they, basically he's all like, well, I have the best chance of like surviving any problems, even though it's still kind of a prototype.
Right.
And yeah, he takes out the terrorists, but they do blow him up, but he survives, he's not even as damaged as being put in the furnace. The suit basically takes most of the blast. And that's the end of the story. We're not even really left with next time on Iron Man.
Although there is a volume 2. I don't know if it's the same creative team.
It is at least the same writer. Actually, I don't know if it's
okay.
Andy Kubert leaves. It's Pascal Ferry is the penciler.
We gotta deal with like Howard Stark in jail.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come to like, some sort of conclusion just to basically wrap it up, the defeat of Obadiah and Tony becoming an official superhero. But yeah, that's pretty much the book.
I'm pretty sure Ultimate Iron Man Volume. It's weird. Like they say Ultimate Iron Man Volume 2, and it's like issues 1 to 5, as if it's not connected to Volume 1.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how they did Ultimates too, though. Was like Ultimates 1 and Ultimates 2. You know.
Well, no. So they did Ultimates Volume 1 and 2, but then they did Ultimates 2.
Okay, yeah. I don't know then. I don't know. I'm trying to make a reason for it, but yeah.
I will tell you, I saw the cover for Volume 2, and I do not like that suit at all. It looks too much like B-Max from...
or Baymax?
Baymax, yeah.
From Big Hero 6?
Yeah.
Which is also a Marvel thing.
Oh. I forget that.
Yeah. No, yeah, all of these suits look weird and bad. Like, this is the era of like, well, realism, and it's like, well, maybe comics aren't always supposed to be about realism. Maybe it's supposed to look cool and be cool because it looks cool.
Yeah. Ah, man.
Is this realism?
Is
that what they're going for with that suit?
I think so.
Well, like gritty, like...
They're not gritty necessarily. I don't think so, but like...
Okay.
Practical, yes, yeah. Like, like somebody who doesn't know things about engineering could say like, oh yeah, that's what a real Iron Man suit would probably look like. Especially an early prototype version.
Reasonably put together by a teenager.
Yeah. So yeah, this book, it is the origins of Tony Stark in his childhood, and I don't think that that's super necessary. I don't want to know about that.
No.
Like, it makes sense for Spider-Man to an extent, because Spider-Man is a kid in his early years,
yeah.
But we don't need that with everybody.
No.
Just kind of don't get a better sense of Tony from seeing his childhood.
Yeah.
Are you saying you don't
Iron
get a
Man
better
is
sense?
One of those characters where like the origin is the least important part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like other than like in the movies, okay, like losing his parents and then like his own weapons, like almost killing him. That's enough of a origin. I don't need to know like how he grew up.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like, I mean, I don't really care that they changed like the, like his brain is his body and all of that stuff, But the thing that like, these superhero origins are generally fairly simple, can be summed up in like a sentence or two, and like this has none of the previous origin, unlike most Ultimate incarnations, like the Tony in main comics is a war profiteer who realizes that his weapons are doing real damage to real people on both sides, and and that it's better to use his expertise to protect people, to help them.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Yeah.
And this does not have that. Tony is pretty personally motivated by, like, his circumstances and the problems that he was born with. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, he really has more in common with, like, mutants.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, before you said that, I was gonna say, I thought this could have been really good. Because outside of like what Tony has been at this point, traditionally been portrayed as, right? It's like I actually kind of like the idea of him being born like different brain all over. I like the idea of they gave him limits in a sense. Like burning, since very sensitive, put on this armor.
Yeah.
But my main issue is that like the goal for the Ultimate Comics is to be like modern and gritty, and I'm like, that is the worst part of this comic.
Yeah. It is really just, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's like Jake said earlier too. It's like I don't really care about like the business intrigue, and stuff like that. Even though that feels like part of what you're saying, the like this is happening in the real world, kind of.
I will say I do kind of like that
time between the like all their different interests. They're just trying to be so many different things.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And yeah, I don't know. It just goes back to like basically like there's this view of like, I don't know, because they're trying to make like Tony Stark, it's like, well, he's the genius. And it's weird too, because I guess I don't really know how Tony Stark was portrayed very well, like at the time of writing. Because like the MCU really did help create the often said billionaire playboy philanthropist, so it's like, but Tony Stark was those things before that, but at the same time, they've definitely modeled the character, in a very specific direction that isn't necessarily the same as his comics counterpart. So like this maybe is the first step in that, where he has like this like machismo kind of confidence, to everything.
Okay.
That also results in kind of like, not really seeing the trees for the forest, maybe.
Like missing the trees.
Yeah, like not like kind of, being
the big picture.
Yeah, looking at too much at the big picture and
okay.
not seeing individuals and individual problems.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird characterization and just a weird version of him, and it almost feels like with the blue bacteria armor, it's like, you've almost created a, because that is a cool reimagining of Iron Man, where it's like, oh, well, he has like this skin armor instead, but then it's like, well, that's not really Iron Man anymore, though.
Yeah.
Like he's a modern tech knight, like a knight in shining armor kind of thing, but with technology.
Yeah.
This is, again, like, biological. He really is more like a mutant.
Yeah.
Like none of that, like other than, so, okay, his brain cells being all his cells, like, I can understand how that contributes to him being Iron Man. But, like, nothing else does in this. You know what I mean?
Like, he just chooses to be Iron Man, but it's not, like,
like
where's the motivation kind of thing?
Yeah, like, the spray armor doesn't really, like, I guess it gives him the idea for a suit of armor, but I feel like that is, like, well established enough. Like, he could see, I don't know, a knight at a museum and then be like, oh man, armor, huh? Crazy.
Yeah.
Being able to regrow body parts doesn't add anything to him
Mhm.
being Iron Man.
Yeah.
So like, it's what's the point of doing
Mhm.
this then?
Fair.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess this story is not good, but other than that one issue in the middle, it's really not like offensively bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just dumb. I got
No.
done with it. I was like, that was kind of dumb.
Mhm. And that's why I liked, what you said, Cody, about, Iron Man traditionally being like, well, this guy was a war profiteer who realized his weapons were hurting people and he could use his expertise to protect people. I'm like, that's a much better story.
That's like the
And-
main part of the first movie is really good at just being that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was like, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what this is trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like there
Is
were
it gritty? It's like so fantastically silly in some ways,
no, it totally is.
and yet trying to tell us that it's gritty though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I wonder if this was Orson Scott Card's first attempt at a comic book. Not that it's like particularly novel-y. We've definitely read novelists that, write a comic and there's just like way too much dialogue and too much description and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's not that problem, but it is like, I'm not sure if he understood the tone all the way that was like the intent. Because it is like, in some ways it feels like, there's like enough like real worldness injected into it, but at the same time he views like comic book superheroes as like fairy tales a little bit, with like very distinct good and evil.
Mhm.
Which, like, I mean, superheroes can be that, but definitely that's not what the goal of the Ultimate Universe is.
Right.
I don't even know what Tony's goal is in this.
No.
Are we headed towards like a direction? We're just we're just kind of reacting to the horribleness of these other characters.
Yeah.
I will say, just like scrolling through volume 2, it's like I'm not reading what it's saying, but like it just looks like Tony is continuing to be Tony. Like I don't.
That's all you want. You just want Tony Stark to be Iron Man and wear a cool suit, but the suit isn't even cool, I guess.
Nope.
I'm not saying that's what we want. I'm just saying it's all you could ever want, right? Sarcastic.
Yeah. Also, I didn't remember to go over this part, but there's a part where it almost seems like the book is trying to say that like Howard maybe has like some sadistic tendencies and might be like kind of
I did not like
secretly
that.
evil. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not fine with that. I would be fine with that if it wasn't out of nowhere.
Yeah, right.
So if it meant anything or contributed to the story, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, in that scene, it's like he like just gets in Tony's face and starts yelling at him. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Whoa, what is going on here?
He says, "I own your tech. I own every thought in your head. We have a contract."
I'm like, what?
Yeah. There's no further impacts beyond that, though.
Yeah, it's very much like
dad being dad.
I funded the technology that resulted in your accidental birth, so I own you.
Wait, whoa, hold up.
Psych.
I also didn't like the fact I don't know if it's in that same conversation, but Howard and Tony are having a conversation where Tony talks about the deal that he and Rhodey made, where it's like, I'll make the Iron Man suit, he'll make his War Machine suit,
Yeah, that's
and then
right before
switch.
That's what leads up to it.
Oh, okay. And
he's like, no, you can't give the technology away.
right.
Yeah.
He's like, no, you don't give tech away. You give money away.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, don't worry. All right. I don't know like the specific jargon that Tony used, but basically he was like, yeah, in the end of the day, like he'll find out that, oh, he can't actually use it outside of these parameters that I have. So basically I still own it. And it's like, okay, Wow, that's sadistic.
You guys suck? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, I think in terms of the morbid curiosity element of this, it's, I don't know, just kind of it's there.
I think it holds up.
The beginning of it really held a lot more promise.
Yeah.
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 And then it just got it kind of normal afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
In its own bonkers way.
who knew that the through line of the two Marvel comics that we've read so far would be Iron Man being racist.
Yeah, that's weird connective tissue. I didn't think about that.
Wait, what?
To be fair, Batman was also.
Or
I mean,
no.
it wasn't technically Iron Man in Marvel.
Oh,
They
right.
never said he was Iron Man.
Did they not?
But
I mean, it's very clearly.
Can't.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought they did. I thought they named the ones they owned, which was Iron Man and Black Panther.
oh, they didn't. They didn't name Batman.
Yeah, they
That
didn't
might be
name
it.
Batman.
Oh, okay, that makes more
Yeah.
sense.
Gotcha. Okay, you said that, and I was like, "Wait, what comic are you talking about?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right."
It's okay if you stripped Marvel from your brain. I understand.
it didn't need
Only
to live
healthy
there.
thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so like when I say that this comic held up, I mean it was bad.
Yeah.
You've just been so desensitized by Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that it's definitely like it lands in the middle between the three that we've read so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
A strong middle contender.
You're just mid. But I look forward to reading the next one.
Oh, are you?
That
Oh my god, I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I think that one's gonna be worse.
Yeah.
But it's so fun.
Yeah. I'm excited for that one also, actually. Yeah. All-Star Batman and Robin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Excited.
Stay tuned for that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that is probably all that we have for this. Actually, real quick, I will say we commented a lot about the suit design. I think that there was some good moments of art from Andy Kubert. Maybe the inking kind of messed it up. There was a lot of faces that were really weird.
Oh, yeah.
Some weird distortion in like some of the perspective scenes. Like when you're looking up at certain characters, I kept noticing it. I was like, ew.
Yeah, it felt like, especially like in the first couple of issues, there was like a bunch of like 3/4 like profiles, and then like they would do it straight on and it'd be like, why is your face all squished out to the side?
Yeah.
Like that.
Someone learned how to use the warp tool.
Yeah. So yeah, that was weird.
My only comment on like how characters' faces is that in the at the ball or whatever it is that Tony and Howard are at, I just kept thinking, wow, Tony looks so much like Peter Parker. Like, it's weird. Yeah,
they really only have like one young face loaded, one skinny young white. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Anyway, though, yeah. So yeah, I do think that the art did succeed sometimes, where I was like, oh yeah, I could see that kind of looking cool, especially in the original pencils, but didn't really care for the ink or color, in the way that it, just in that early 2000s start of mainstream digital ink and color, way. But yeah, so that is my thoughts on the art. Did you guys have anything else that you wanted to add before we end here? No.
I will say nothing really stood out to me. I feel like this, for better or for worse, depending on if you like it, very reminiscent of almost every other Ultimates comic we read.
Yeah.
I don't consider that a compliment. I don't.
I mean,
for them.
To me, I like it. So I'm like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was easy to read,
Yeah, I would say
like
so.
visually.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I retract that. I kept getting confused about how big the Iron Man suit was because they used weird angles to view it.
Yeah.
And then
So
they
I could never tell how big the suit was.
Yeah.
I think they also made a totally different suit that was actually big.
Yeah.
So they made it big because it was easier to work on, big,
Mm-hmm.
and they kept it big. They never got it to get super small, if I understand right.
No, but there is one
Not yet.
The first one we see is definitely like more human body sized, you know? It is still quite big, but not like giant. Yeah. And then the one that he takes out the terrorist boat is like actually supposed to be big.
Yeah.
Like he's like probably like half the boat size, I think. Yeah. But yeah, it isn't confusing, so that's a good point. I agree. I was able to use context clues basically to figure that out, but not clear through the art. But yeah, that was Ultimate Iron Man. So yeah, until next time, this has been the Comic Panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Tailon.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Chawienta.
And we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.